What do you do when life gets hard, when it takes every ounce of strength just to keep going? We've all had those days where it felt like we got up only to get punched in the face, and then got up again just to get hit once more. During the worst moments, that's exactly what it feels like. That same day repeating over and over, week after week, maybe even for a whole year. If your experience was anything like mine, it was brutal. But what if I told you the secret to winning in life comes from the people who take punches for a living? There are professionals out there who do this every day. They take body shots for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Boxers and MMA fighters step into the ring, and they learn how to roll with the punches just to stay in the fight and to win. In this video, we'll break down 5 core principles rooted in Stoic wisdom and inspired by their example that you can use to stand back up and fight again after getting knocked down. Because yes, you can win at life. All it takes is a plan, the right preparation, and a will that refuses to quit. But you've got to be honest about where you are and face the reality of your life head on. As Mike Tyson once said, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. What Tyson was getting at is a fundamental truth that the ancient Stoics understood deeply. Life will hit us with the unexpected, no matter how carefully we plan. Expect the unexpected. The first principle in fighting back is recognizing this truth and accepting it as a core part of the human experience. The Stoics had a name for this: premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. By mentally preparing for setbacks before they show up, we build the kind of internal armor that helps us stay composed when adversity finally strikes. This isn't about pessimism, it's about preparation. It's how we stay grounded in reality. Being adaptable means we have to loosen our grip on rigid expectations. When we cling too tightly to a specific outcome, we're setting ourselves up for heartbreak the moment things go off track. We should instead be more like a boxer, shifting their stance in response to the jabs coming from their opponent. With that kind of mental flexibility, we can pivot and adjust quickly when life doesn't go as planned. That unexpected punch, it's almost never personal. The Stoics made a clear distinction between the event itself and the way we judge or interpret that event. A canceled flight, a job rejection, a sudden illness, these aren't attacks on us as individuals. They're just events, moments we need to adapt to. When we can separate what's happening from how we feel about it, we make room for clearer thinking and better decisions. True mental readiness isn't about trying to control everything that happens outside of us. That's too much to ask. It's about mastering how we respond. Just like fighters train both their bodies and their minds to stay composed under pressure, we have to work on keeping calm when our plans fall apart. That inner stability becomes a strength when life throws us off balance, because eventually, it always will. So step into the world with that knowledge. The punches are coming, and yeah, some of them will connect. But you're not the only one facing them. We all go through it. What matters is that, mentally, you're ready. You are strong. You are capable. You can handle this. Hold on to that belief. And that leads us right into our second principle, being ready to take those hits. You've got to build your mental resilience, just like a boxer trains day in and day out to take hits. Strengthening your mental toughness happens the same way, one day at a time. A boxer doesn't suddenly wake up one day ready to absorb punches. It takes consistent training with intensity that builds over time. They step into the ring, they run, they move, they push themselves physically. That's their process. You've got to do the equivalent in your own life. Resilience isn't something that magically appears. It's something you practice with intention. Start small. A delayed train, spilled coffee, a tech glitch. These everyday annoyances are opportunities. chances to practice calm and composure instead of blowing up in frustration. Every time you respond with control, you're strengthening your resilience muscle. The Stoics believed in voluntary discomfort, intentionally placing themselves in tough or uncomfortable situations to build tolerance. Cold showers, fasting, sleeping on a hard floor, none of these were punishments. They were training. By choosing discomfort in safe, controlled doses, you increase your ability to handle the bigger discomforts that life inevitably throws at you. And make no mistake, because this is real life, those challenges are on the way. Mental resilience also means keeping things in perspective. As Epictetus put it, it's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters. A resilient mind understands that pain is part of life, but suffering is optional. The pain from a setback is real, but the story we tell ourselves about that pain, that it's unbearable, unfair, or never-ending, that's what creates unnecessary suffering. That narrative, we can control, we can change it, because it lives in the mind, and we can train the mind. Your resilience isn't defined by how well you avoid problems. It's defined by your capacity to face them. And when you begin watching your mind more closely, you'll start to get better at it. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. Then it becomes routine. Eventually, it becomes easy, and that's when you win. But before you get there, you've got to play your cards right. And that includes remembering this. Recovery is just as vital as exertion. Sometimes stepping back or even stepping away is exactly what you need. Master strategic retreat. In the arena of life, knowing when to push forward is only half the equation. You also need to know when to pull back. This isn't about giving up, it's about thinking strategically. Picture a seasoned boxer up against a stronger opponent. When they're caught in a flurry of punches, they don't just plant their feet and absorb every blow. They slip, duck, clinch, or step back to create some distance. They're conserving energy while letting the opponent burn themselves out. That kind of fighter understands. Surviving this round opens the door to winning later ones. As Seneca once said, the greatest remedy for anger is delay. So when you're under attack, from life, from stress, from people, you can choose to pull back, even if only briefly. This idea goes far beyond the boxing ring. When you're feeling overwhelmed, a strategic retreat allows you to conserve your emotional, mental, and physical resources. Every battle costs something. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is disengage, regroup, rather than depleting yourself entirely. Stepping back also helps you gain perspective. In the middle of conflict, our vision often narrows. Taking a step back gives you space to see the broader picture, to spot patterns and form better strategies. As Marcus Aurelius reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Use that strength to choose better battles. Not every fight is worth it. Not every hill is worth dying on. A strategic retreat lets you pick your battles wisely, on your terms and from your position of strength, not your opponent's. The truth is, many of life's challenges are just tests of endurance. Often the person who survives, who weathers the storm with smart defense, is the one who wins in the end. This principle has shown up throughout history and across nature. From Sun Tzu to Eisenhower, great military minds have recognized the value of a well-timed withdrawal. Think of the mighty oak. It may look strong, but it'll snap in a storm if it refuses to bend. The reed, flexible and yielding, will survive. As Epictetus taught, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. So, master the art of the strategic withdrawal in your own life. Sometimes you take the punches, sometimes you sidestep, and sometimes you pull away, not out of weakness, but as a setup for future victory. The strongest person isn't the one who never retreats. It's the one who ultimately wins the fight, the sum of all the smart advances and retreats. So if you need to step back right now in your life to fight another day, that's worth it. Give yourself permission to make that move if it helps you get through this moment. But then again, sometimes you can't. Find power in perspective. There are times when retreat means taking a loss, and that brings us to our fourth principle, the power of perspective. When life knocks you down, keep this in mind. What seems like an obstacle may actually be an opportunity in disguise. Picture yourself standing on the edge of a daunting challenge, your heart pounding. Most people only see the shadow, the fear, the dark side of it. But a warrior sees something else. They see a training ground, the place where greatness is forged. They don't believe the universe is working against them. They understand it's working to strengthen them. This is more than simple optimism. It's strategic vision. The fighter who sees a stronger opponent not as punishment but as a teacher holds a psychological edge over the rest. While others ask, "Why me?" the Stoic warrior asks, "What am I supposed to learn from this?" Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the obstacle doesn't block the path, it is the path. Inside the very resistance lies your strength. Think of a diamond. It only forms under intense, crushing pressure. Think of a sword. It's only hardened and shaped through fire. Think of a champion. They're made through struggle, through battling those they've overcome. Nothing exceptional ever comes from comfort. So ask yourself honestly, how comfortable are you right now? Because when you shift your perspective, everything changes. That missed promotion, it becomes the redirection you truly needed. The breakup, it becomes the lesson that shaped who you are. The failure, it humbles you, and through that humility, you gain wisdom, and that wisdom lifts you higher. When you begin to see your obstacles as training, as opportunities to grow stronger, you tap into real power, and with that power, you can move forward with clear eyes. Develop unbreakable will. Perspective is powerful, but on its own, it isn't enough. Understanding the path ahead means nothing without action. What's required now is resolve. And that brings us to our fifth and final principle. To turn perspective into victory, you must develop an unbreakable will. A fighter's true strength isn't measured by how many times they stay standing, but by how many times they get back up. With fire in their eyes and determination in their stance. It's never been about never falling. It's always been about refusing to stay down. Think of the great boxers, those legends who suffered brutal knockdowns, only to rise again from the mat. They weren't superheroes. What they carried was something more powerful than belts or titles. They had an unbreakable will. That mindset is what separates true champions from those who simply compete. The Stoics understood this deeply. As Epictetus, once a slave, later a philosopher, taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters. Your circumstances may lie outside your control, but your response, that belongs fully to you. That's where your real power lives." So when life hits you with an unexpected uppercut, remember, you don't need to control everything to come out victorious. You only need to control what's in reach, your thoughts, your actions, and above all, your will. Like a fighter who tunes out the crowd, ignores the judges, and locks in on the opponent right in front of them. Direct your focus to where your effort actually matters, because an unbreakable will is not the same as blind optimism. It's a fusion of clear-eyed realism and relentless forward drive. It's that steady inner voice that whispers, "Not today," when all signs point to defeat. It's the unshakable resolve that transforms impossible into done. Each time you rise after a fall, you reinforce that will. Every obstacle you confront hardens your mindset. You become a seasoned fighter marked by scars, yes, but with a spirit that won't bend. And don't forget, in life's harshest battles, victory doesn't always go to the strongest punch. It often goes to the one who lasts, who refuses to give up or give in. So develop that unbreakable will, and no challenge will ever defeat you. Conclusion: you, right there in the arena of life, are going to face moments that test your resolve and challenge the core of who you are. Just like fighters in the ring, we must learn how to take the hits, adjust to shifting circumstances, and rise from each round even stronger than before. The 5 Stoic principles we've walked through aren't just theory, they form a blueprint. A blueprint not for surviving life's hardest battles, but for winning them. By embracing reality through the practice of premeditating difficulties, we equip our minds in advance for the inevitable trials ahead. This isn't abstract philosophy, it's practical wisdom. When we expect the punches, we don't get knocked out by them, we sidestep, we stay grounded, and we keep moving forward. Through intentional daily practice and small doses of voluntary discomfort, we gradually strengthen our resilience. Just as a fighter conditions their body with every session, we must train our minds with equal intention. Every minor frustration, every inconvenience we overcome adds to the mental endurance we'll need when life throws its hardest surprises at us. And sometimes, as the wisdom of strategic retreat reminds us, winning doesn't come from standing tall at every moment. It comes from knowing when to pause, to preserve your energy, and to fight another day. The greatest fighters understand longevity often determines the victor. When we master the power of perspective, everything changes. What others see as setbacks, we can transform into setups for growth, for learning, for strength. The very challenges that threaten to break us become the fires that forge us. And finally, it's an unbreakable will that turns all this understanding into motion. It's that quiet, defiant determination that lifts us off the mat again and again. Because over a lifetime, no one avoids falling, but those who rise each time with focus and fire in their eyes, those are the ones who win. Life will keep swinging, that's its nature, but armed with these timeless Stoic principles, you don't just endure, you evolve. You transform setbacks into comebacks. You convert obstacles into your strongest opportunities. Real victory in life doesn't go to those who never face pain. It belongs to those who meet it head-on, with courage, with wisdom, and with a will that simply refuses to break. So step into the ring of life with your chin up, take the hits, and win. Ending notes. In upcoming videos, we're going to dive deeper into the how. We'll walk through practical techniques to apply these principles to real areas of your life. Whether you're dealing with stress at work, navigating personal setbacks, or just trying to survive the daily grind, we're here to help you mold these ideas into something that fits your situation. Our goal with this channel is simple: to give you clear, usable frameworks that make Stoic wisdom accessible and actionable, right where you are. And if that sounds valuable to you, make sure to subscribe and tap that notification bell so you don't miss what's next. Your support doesn't just help this channel grow, it helps share these powerful ideas with others who may be facing the exact same battles you've fought. Every comment, every share, every subscription helps this community grow stronger together. Until next time, remember, Stoicism isn't about just enduring hardship, it's about thriving because of it. Every challenge holds the seed of your next victory. The opportunity to claim it begins now.